And welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're going to talk about our time at Elmwood. So, last weekend, yes, we're recording this one week after the conclusion of the Elmwood UFO Days Festival in Elmwood, Wisconsin, and you're going to hear it about a month later, about a month and a week or two later. But yeah, we're talking about a week later, so we have it all nice and fresh for you guys, but we can't interrupt the Hollow Earth episodes, so we're just going to slap this thing on as the first episode you're going to get in September. Without further ado, I have two co-hosts with me today. They happen to be the ones that were with me at Elmwood, and they happen to be my only ones at this point. Jake and Jeffrey. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
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 So,
Hello.
I think the best place to start off is right at the beginning of the adventures. I would say that the adventures started with picking up Jeff at the airport. Yep. Text me. He's like, I'm the guy sitting on top of the bench in a black hoodie. I'm like, okay, he's definitely going to look shady as fuck.
I saw him when
Jake's
we were rolling up. I saw him standing up there. I was like, oh, there he is.
I'm like, that's him. Looking shady as fuck.
It was fun too, because so we pick him up and the traffic there was actually a pretty good amount. And there's a lot of people just kind of plugging it up. And it's like, all right. So he just jumped in the truck, and we stopped at a gas station, and so he could get some water and some snacks or whatever. And anyway, so we all get out, and he looks at me. He's like, damn, boy, you're tall. Like, I didn't realize you were so tall. And it turns out he's the short one of the group.
Yeah.
What are you, like 5'2"? That's crazy.
Holy shit. Disrespectful son of... I am I don't know. Me and Jeremy are like the same height, right?
I don't know, man. This is like the first time I've ever in my life felt taller than somebody.
No. See, the thing is, you can't count the hair, right? Because you got hair that adds at least an inch, maybe two, depending on how you're feeling. If we're going top of the scalp, we got to be right there, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Whatever, bro. It's all right.
I don't know.
Never mind. Let me not say it. No, it was fun, but that's not where the adventure started for me. Where the adventure started for me was getting on the plane, which I hate flying. Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I wasn't sure if I was on a no-fly list. I'm glad I'm not. And the lady sitting next to me listen, she had a lot to say. I'll just say that. And it was, I had movies downloaded, I had albums downloaded. I was like, I'm going to distract myself on this flight.
Hold on, man. Hold on. You can't just say that you sat next to a crazy lady and not tell us how crazy.
He's telling the story. You're cutting him off.
Yeah.
All right. Jump into the good stuff, man. Come on.
Well, she was telling me about like some cult, like she's from Colombia, I think. So she's like, oh yeah, there's some cult in the jungle out there. I forget the name of it. And then she like starts drawing on the back of her ticket. And she's like, yeah, I went out there and like they had me sit in this formation with people. And like she was telling me this whole long drawn out story that literally took 4 hours with diagrams and everything drawn down. And the whole time, by the way, I had Netflix up on my phone on the tray in front of me. And I had like the credits like paused because I had gotten like 5 minutes in, and it was paused. And every time she would stop talking for like 3 seconds, I'd like reach over and I'd hit play. And then she would just start going again. I'd pause it. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Been the rude guy that just pops the second earbud in and just presses play.
The rude guy that just opens the door on the plane.
Well, this isn't going as expected.
Forgive me, guys. I'm trying to get this feed posted everywhere. I can't get it to the Facebook group for some stupid reason, but it's on my actual page.
At least all you had to deal with was that. I had to deal with Jeremy just being a nervous wreck, just diarrhea of the mouth, just all his nervous energy just dumping all over my face. I'm like, no, please. And he's like, wow, all over me, all the way there.
Yeah.
At one point, I was like, Jeremy, you're yelling into my ear, and he's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, it was cool. Finally getting there, picking you up. That was rad. And I was smoking a couple pork shoulders all day. So when we got back at like midnight or whatever, because we picked you up at 10:15, so we got back at like midnight, and immediately they were all resting, so broke into the pork shoulders. We all ate for a little bit, hung out, and then it's like, all right, well, let's go to bed.
Yeah. So yeah, I was really nervous.
Yeah.
Really nervous.
I flew across the country to meet two dudes I never met before. I only talked to you guys on the internet. For all I knew, you guys were going to kidnap me and steal my organs. Like, it could have been a whole thing.
It could have been. And
plus, it didn't help that I live out in the boonies where there's no street lights or anything. So he's like, where the heck are we going? And it's like...
Yeah, as I was flying in, I could see that we were in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, well, we're fucked. We're at least a 30-minute flight from the nearest anything.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
It was rad.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are so far in the middle of nowhere. When the airport that you dropped me off at, Jake, to go home, that morning, the plane flew from Minneapolis, an hour drive away, landed there to pick up 12 of us or whatever it was, and then kept going. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, no, Eau Claire Airport
Get on the Greyhound.
is much smaller.
Yeah, it was literally like getting on the Greyhound. It was the only plane there, too, besides the ones that were, already parked up, like in the hangars or whatever. But yeah, it's the only plane moving around. I was like, okay, this is sketch.
That's got to be an easy airport to get through, though.
Oh, it was. They didn't even ask questions. I walked up. I was like, hey. And they were like, do you have it on your phone? I was like, yep. And they're like, you're good. I was like, what? Okay.
Oh, to just let everybody in.
Go through security, and they're like, we're almost kind of bummed out you don't have a gun on you.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? You're liberal? It's like, whoa.
Yeah. No, they had machines doing it. You just step in there, and it scans you all around, like it moves around you. They didn't even have that at Orlando. At Orlando, they had humans like waving the wands and like patting people down. Over here, it was just you walked in and it was like hands up and then good to go.
That's surprising. I've seen those scanners in every airport I've been to. I've never. I didn't know that Orlando still had the whole wand technology.
I mean, I'm sure they probably have them somewhere in Orlando, but they didn't have them at the gate that I was at. You know what I mean? Orlando's huge though, so it's like a freaking city in that airport.
No, it's probably quicker to just wave the wand around versus the 2 seconds it takes to go through the machine or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, good times. Glad you guys didn't harvest my organs. Glad the plane didn't. Yeah, glad the plane didn't crash that I know of.
And then so the first day, so Friday, it didn't start until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So we ended up. Gosh, did we set up the tent? We did. We set up the pop-up.
Yeah, you did the
we started off kind of the county fair here in Dunn County was going, so we went to that, and that was pretty much dead.
It's awful.
And ate some really expensive food that wasn't too great, and then walked around downtown a little bit. Went to the candy store, and then
shout out to the Charming Farm Creations, man. They make some dope wooden artwork.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You know,
I forgot that's where I was getting Jake's birthday gift from. Thanks.
So basically, this lady and her husband did like they had like the laser engraver type thing, like the Shipoko or whatever it is, and they make layered art. So there was like Bigfoot ones where it was the outline was the Bigfoot, and then it was just layers and layers and layers. So there's trees and there's a flag and there's all kinds of stuff inside of this. Like 6 or 7 different layers, and it all makes up this one image, and it was really cool looking. And she's like, yeah, we could do custom stuff, up to, I think she said like 20 by 30 inches. And it's like, oh man, I'm getting an Infinite Rabbit Hole logo. But it was pretty rad. So I was pretty impressed by that. But
yeah, that was good stuff, man. The driving up to UFO Days, we got there. Not gonna lie, it was nothing like I expected.
What'd you expect it to be?
I expected it to be much smaller. It was already pretty small, right? But I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting this to be much, much smaller. Much. I mean, the population of Elmwood right now is in, I think, the 700s, right? And it's not a very big place. Main Street is not a very big place. Right. It's a bunch of old buildings, and it's a farm town. And honestly, I didn't have huge expectations. I was just excited. Then we got there. And I seen that it was very structured, or at least looked very structured when we got there. And people were walking around. We sold a couple t-shirts, and I was like, well, we might actually have people show up to this presentation. And I started getting nervous.
We hit didn't we hit about half the target goal or whatever it was that first night? Or close
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
That's
We
sick.
we sold some a pretty good amount of t-shirts,
Yeah.
which is really cool, right? I think the coolest thing about it though was the people that came up to us and said that they loved the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was by far the coolest thing. But before we get away from day one, Jake caught a frisbee.
I did.
He
It's
did.
actually the right mirrors. Yeah, it's the green thing back there. that thing.
There you go.
Yeah, it's so they were on top of the building on the other side of us, which that was a prime location. We weren't close to the wrestling ring. It was on the other side of the area, but when they did the tractor pull, it was literally right in front of us. So that was pretty dope. But yeah, so they had a couple hundred of these frisbees right here, and they had like free souvenirs at the souvenir shop, and then raffle tickets. And I guess the raffles were like 4 tickets each, $50 or something like that. But they're throwing them from the top of the roof on the other side of us. It was like a 2-story building towards all the people. And I'm sitting here watching it. I was like, man, I want a frisbee. And it's funny because Jeremy or Jeff always talks about synchronicities, right? Or coincidences, or willing stuff into existence, right? And so it was so uncanny. I was right there, and I heard one of the guys that was up there say, "This is my last frisbee." And I was like, I'm going to catch that frisbee. And he just beams it down at me, directly to me. And I just reach out and doop, just grab it. And I was like, I went back and I was like, that was freaking weird. And I told Jeff about it. And he's like, this is what I'm telling you, man. I was like, nah, I still don't believe it. But that was cool.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, you call it a coincidence if you want, but
Yeah, that's all it was. Just a weird coincidence.
Sure, man. That's why you even thought about it not being a coincidence, and you're talking about it not being a coincidence now because somewhere in your subconscious, you know
that it was a coincidence.
It was destiny, bro. It was destiny.
This frisbee is gonna save my life one day.
It's gonna save the world, not just you.
I'm gonna be in a horrible house fire, and I'm gonna beam it through the window and shatter the old glass and be able to rescue my family and be like, gosh, it was fate.
Well, I don't know what's going on with the live show. For some reason, we're unlived again. I don't know.
We're not live?
No, we're not live.
We've been unalived. Dang, that sucks.
Unalived.
Turns out the plane did crash, Jeff.
It says live recording on mine.
Does it?
Yeah, it says that on mine too.
Oh, well, live then. Or not. Maybe we are.
I think from multiple people who told me that when they click the link, though, it makes them like accept permissions for their camera and their microphone, and it makes them think that they're joining the link. So that might be part of the reason why some people aren't actually with us here at the moment.
That's weird. We're going to have to get this streaming thing figured out. I looked into it a little bit over the last couple of days. And I don't know. I'm illiterate when it comes to technology. Anyways,
it's a lot.
I think that besides the frisbee catch, the highlight of day one was the guy walking into the planter.
Yeah, that was rad. So let me set the stage. So we're sitting at our booth, and just to the left of us, there's 2 doors. One of them is a bar, and we watch this guy walk out of the bar. He's stumbling. He goes around the front of the booth. He's making it past, and he's holding a drink in his hand, like a red Solo cup. I mean, it was clear, but so it's splashing in his hand while he's just kind of like this. And he's walking past us and then just course corrects and beelines straight for the giant 4-foot square planter that's right next to us and just body slams it, falls right in. And we're like, dang, dude, party. And then he gets out and he's splashing his drink everywhere. So I'm like, dang. Nice. But it was like that all weekend. I mean, not everyone was like that, obviously, but there were some people getting turned.
Yeah.
Which I guess I mean, let's be real. If I lived 3 minutes walk away from the bar or right down the street, I'd probably get turned up too. And then, just meander my way back. So I understand it.
I'm trying to get something going here, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I've lived in small town before, man, and people like to get drunk in small towns, man. Nothing wrong with that.
So day one was pretty simple. Set up, catch a frisbee, watch a drunk guy walk into a planter, shake hands with a few people. One person came right up to us and was like, "Hey, I love your show. I subscribed today." That all went really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Day 2, wake up nice, bright and early. We get there, hours go by, and we're getting nothing, right? Because nobody's even there. So I think it started at 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think anybody, like actual patrons of the festival, didn't show up until 10, 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started getting busier and busier and busier. Before that, though, Jake got pancakes.
Yeah, I did.
He did.
They're great.
He got pancakes. And then he also fucked with Jeff and I with pickles.
What?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, you fucking asshole.
Oh, those. I was like, what did I do? Oh, yeah, that. So on Saturday, not Friday or Sunday, just on Saturday, they had other vendors there that were selling their wares, their trinkets. And so I go and I'm looking at some stuff. I'm looking at some stuff for Whitney, and getting a really nice Christian message like tumbler that was like made of glass and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But one of the booths that was set up, they did spicy pickles, and they had free samples. And so I tried one, and it was ghost pepper, and it was actually not overly spicy, but it did definitely have some kick to it. So I ended up buying a jar of these spicy pickle chunks, I guess. And I was like, can I grab a free sample for one of my buddies? And I was like, and they're like, oh, don't you have 2 people over there? I was like, yeah, but one of them doesn't like spice. And they're like, well, here, take 2. And I was like, all right, cool. So they're unlabeled, just chunks of pickle. And I go back to the boys and I said, hey, try this. And they, without question, pop them into their mouths. I think I may have said that they were spicy, but I was like, yeah, the spicy pickles from this place down there, try these. And without question, they pop them into their mouths. Jeremy has his all the way down before I'm like, it's ghost pepper. Jeff hawks it out of his throat like a bass spitting out a lure. Jeremy already has his down, and there's immediate regret that comes upon his face.
So I started coughing.
Started coughing, yeah.
Because like you hear ghost pepper and you're like, oh fuck. And it wasn't that bad until I started coughing, and all the ghost pepper pickle fluid got caught in my throat. And we're live, by the way, while we're doing this. And my wife later told me that she was watching it, and she was like, I couldn't stop laughing at you. It was, really funny.
Getting choked out. He was crying. His face was red. And I was mocking Jeff because I was like, oh, I'm Jeff. I'm from Florida. I can handle spicy food. And I'm like, you hawk that out so fast. And then I proceeded to walk down to the pickle stand. Now I had to go find a bathroom. But before I did, I walked down to the pickle stand, and I proceeded to tell them the whole chain of events. And we all laughed collectively at Jeremy and Jeff together.
Okay, first of all, I didn't think it was that hot, but like Jeremy said, it was the reaction of the words, right? You say the words ghost pepper. My immediate reaction is get this out of your mouth before you fuck up, which is what I did, right?
But then I tried offering you another one. You said, no.
Yeah, well, it's all good, brother. I also don't like pickles that much. Thank you.
I'll do something else, like ghost pepper okra next time or something.
So that was the first time we ever went live, especially from the streets. And we had a really cool story told to us by a woman. Her and her husband, they're from the area. They were driving one night, and they watched as this thing flew over them and started going nose down and crashed into the ground on, off the side of the road.
Yeah.
But they didn't, apparently he got out of the car, he went to go look for it, nothing. There was absolutely nothing, no damage, no nothing. And they didn't there wasn't an explosion or anything of the such. So their opinion, their thoughts about it was that it literally just phased right through the ground. So it started a whole conversation about multiple dimensions and everything. But that story was really cool.
It was. Yeah. So basically what we did was, when we kind of got it down pat, we had a couple of lapel mics that were attached to the computer. And when we were live streaming, we had one of the lapel mics that we were either passing around or was kind of just sitting on the desk in front of us. And then we attached another one to the top of the pop-up tent on the outside of the table. So if people walked up, we'd tell them, hey, just a heads up, we're recording live. the camera can't see you; it's only seeing us, but they can hear you because of that microphone right there. Do you have anything to share, any stories or whatever it is? You don't have to include your name or anything. And we got several of those. We got some people that came up and, yeah, I saw something, here, that, and the other. And then some people were like, nah, I haven't seen anything. I live in the area. I've been living here all my life. It was a cool mix of folks. Definitely like what you said, people coming up saying, I either just subscribed, or a couple fans coming up and saying, hey, I've been listening to you guys for years. I can't believe you. When I heard that you were moving to Wisconsin, it blew my mind. Right. So it's like, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? That. I love it. Oh, there yeah.
There's the
look at Hefe.
Wow. Nice. I took almost no pictures. I'm so dumb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, Jake, this is, if you're watching this.
Toss, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Frisbee toss. The people on Spotify that are listening to this
see the guy up here, babe? Oh. They were throwing him off this roof.
Yep.
You guys keep talking if you want.
No, I was looking at the pictures.
I was too.
We're doing terrible for our Spotify listeners.
Yeah, this is awful. Anyways, so like what Jake was saying, there was a very good mixture of people who were believers and who were not believers, and they were from the town. So many people, especially the ones that were transplants, the ones that moved into town, it seemed like, were the ones that were not believers. That I've never seen anything, but so and so says they saw something, and whatnot. I think the real kicker, though, was that we started hearing reports of big feats in the area. And I think that's what really, got me excited. Because obviously I love the big feats.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. Anyway, so I'm stuck trying to watch these damn things that
knock it off.
Jeff's showing. Jeffrey, you need it.
What?
You need it. Get
I was just flipping through pictures, man. I figured, if anybody was watching, they could,
I don't think we have anybody watching.
How's that sound? But yeah, no, it was pretty rad. Gosh, it seems like it was so long ago. It's just like a blur. It was only last weekend. It's so wild. But and so okay, so I think after doing the spiel a few times of, because I think the most common questions we got was, what is the Infinite Rabbit Hole, and then what's a podcast, right? Or what's the Infinite Rabbit Hole, and then why are you here type stuff. So we said our spiel so many times. Infinite Rabbit Hole is a podcast. Here's our business card. On the front, it has all of our socials. On the back, it has everything that we cover. We're just here to get the story of Elmwood and to get any interviews with people that have seen some stuff. That sort of thing. Saying that enough times got us, at least to meet enough people, kind of seeing so many faces and all that sort of stuff, talking to them one-on-one, that when we eventually at 4:30 went in and did our presentation, I felt a lot more prepared, just in that most of the people all the people that were in there, I'd seen before because they'd come to the booth.
Yeah, true.
It was easy to talk to them. I was just as nervous as Jeremy, but I don't show it because I mask it under humor. So I'm over there riling up the crowd by like chatting with them and cracking jokes and everything. And I go to Jeremy, I'm like, all right, they're hyped up. Don't blow it. And but I think that the presentation went over well. Jeremy gave the information as far as Elmwood goes. And I was talking to a fan afterwards that was talking about her Bigfoot expeditions. But I believe you guys got complimented on that was the first time in a long time that anyone's actually ever talked about Elmwood during the UFO Days presentation, and that a lot of good attaboys and things like that for Jeremy's presentation. And it was basically like all the Elmwood episodes, but it was summed up in about half an hour.
Yep.
And so he just gave the highlights of the sightings, the big interactions, what happened to the individuals and everything. And then we went into Q&A, and that was really unexpected for me because I was like, I don't know what to expect from Q&A. I thought for sure they were going to be asking about Elmwood, but they didn't ask anything about Elmwood. They were more focused on, if you guys are going to be here and looking at local festivals and local mysteries and things like that, you should check out all of these sorts of things. And so it was a lot of that sort of stuff. Hey, have you checked out this area and that area? We wrote them all down for episode ideas and things like that, and research points. But I think my two of my most favorite things happened during the during the presentation. One, when Jeff, the first 15 minutes was pretty much our introduction. So the thing ran for about an hour, a little bit more maybe. And Jeremy introduced himself, explained his role in the podcast, then I did, and then handed it over to Jeff. And his first thing is, "Hey, I'm Jeff. I'm a conspiracy theorist." And the crowd went wild. Right? And then we it was awesome. And then we were asking right at the beginning of the Q&A, they were like, "Do you have any questions for us?" And Jeff said, "Well, I have a question." And so Jeremy handed him the mic, and he's just like, "Why does NASA get $65 million a day?" And then, it did the whole mic drop thing. And then they went, laughed, applauded, things like that. But then also we had a guy asking about the Beast of Bray Road, and the conversation got into dire wolves. And Jeremy said, "Hey, Jake, cue up that video," because we had our laptop plugged in. We were streaming the first Elmwood episode, the video that Jeff made for YouTube. And so that was kind of running in the background on the projector while Jeremy gave his presentation. And so I'm trying to cue up the YouTube video running off of bandwidth that's being used by like 1,000 people plus off the same router. So it's pretty slow. It was amazing that they had free Wi-Fi right there in the center, right where we were at. But, during high peak traffic, it was certainly bogged down. So I'm trying to do it. It's freezing up, all this sort of stuff. We're bickering amongst each other. Jeff's yelling at me, calling me an amateur. I'm yelling back at him, telling him to stop screaming at me because I'm sensitive, and people are busting up laughing. And it's just like, and we're like, "Hey, if you listen to our show, this is what you're going to hear." So get ready, right? But it really went over very, very well, to the point where I'm just like, "All right, cool. What's the next thing?" We ripped the Band-Aid off. I think the biggest thing we were worried about was the presentation. Are we going to sell t-shirts? Probably. Are we going to have interactions? Yeah, probably. All that sort of stuff. Are we going to get any interviews from it? I don't know. But the biggest thing that could, just kick us in the face is if, what I was worried about is if we all got up on stage and maybe me or Jeremy, or probably not Jeff, but if we vapor locked and just couldn't get it out. And just like, stage fright, all that sort of stuff. But we did really well. And they laughed. They had a good time, and we had a good time. And it was just like, all right, for a first time event, that was pretty decent,
I heard I got a few things of feedback. First one, we'll just talk about like the workers there, right? Amy is the president of UFO Days. She said that she's got really, really good feedback. She's excited to have us back next year. She wants us back in a bigger capacity, more involved, potentially doing bus tours next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then some of the others, some of the people that we met there for the very first time, specifically about the feedback for the presentation, this was the only presentation where nobody walked out, which I saw people walk out, but then I was corrected. And they told me, no, they were just going to the bathroom. I was like, oh, okay. That's really freaking cool. And somebody who has been a patron of UFO Days for the last 5 years and only missed a small amount of presentations said that this was the best presentation in the 5 years that she was there. I don't know, man. I was stupid nervous going into it. Like, I was an absolute wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of it, I feel good. I'm still going to be a stupid, nervous wreck next time, though.
Did it help that I got the crowd to boo you?
No, but
you know what it is, man? It's that flow state, man. When we went up there, I wouldn't say like unprepared, but like less prepared for like something like we weren't doing a TED talk. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I think that there's the ability in that short period of time, in that hour, for 3 people to kind of get in a flow state. Because I'm not going to lie, like that hour went by really fast.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? It was like
really
15
fast.
minutes in my mind. and that tells me we were in a flow state. Plus everything went really well. Plus we were having fun and we were joking. We weren't like freaking out. You know what I mean? So we were in a flow state and everything just went,
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it, Jeff.
Well, you with your reason, Jeff. How dare you?
My bad.
No, it went really well. It did. I approached it in a manner of, okay, I presented this enough times on various podcasts because I did a small tour of different podcasts before doing the UFO Days Festival. And I was like, I'm just going to present it like that. Do the same.
You did it without your notes too.
I did. And I was like, I need to get flashcards because I'm an idiot and I stutter. I don't think I even stuttered once up there. Maybe I did. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I think you might have. If you had cue cards or something, you might have stuttered because then you're trying to like fumble with whatever you're getting your notes from, and then you're trying to read one thing, but your mind's saying something else. That's how people fuck up, in my opinion.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely thought about it too much, man. I don't know. It was really important for me for this to go off really well. And it did. Like Jake said, there was the 4 tiers of success, right? It was, are we going to sell t-shirts? Are we going to do well in the presentation? Are we going to get people to talk to us? And are we going to get people to tell us their reports or get guests to come on and tell us about their stories? We hit 3 of the 4, right? I don't think we're going to get any guests to come on to tell us their stories. I haven't gotten any emails yet. Some of the seeds that I planted while I was there, like, hey, feel free to reach out and talk to us. I do think that we're going to get additional information on the story of Elmwood, though. Not ready to go forward and say what that is yet, but I feel very confident that we're going to have some modern day stuff coming soon.
Yeah.
So personally, the highlight of the entire festival was meeting Skeeter and Mitchell.
Yeah. Shout
out to those guys. Mitchell, who has never reached out before, listens to the show, and he came out. He messaged us that morning. Came to the booth, shook hands, and he was a great conversation the entire day. Day. It was a pleasure meeting him. It was nice meeting people that we weren't expecting to meet. There was a handful of them who came up and was like, hey, I listened to your show. Been listening to it for a year now, or I've been listening to it for a couple weeks or a couple months. Then Skeeter shows up. Skeeter is a huge fan, and he had a gift for all of us, which was super cool. He gave us Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and it was Yu-Gi-Oh cards that matched our personalities on the show. So I don't know cards very well, but he finished off my Danger collection that my brother started for me. Danger is a segment of Yu-Gi-Oh that covers cryptids or uses cryptids as characters for cards. Jeff, you got a nice stand and everything for yours.
Yeah, they're right here. You can see them. They're right there.
Oh yeah, they are. Look at them.
They're all down there. Yeah, they're pretty sick. I looked them up. I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh either, really, but I looked them up. Some of them are some pretty nice first edition cards. So yeah, I got some nice cases for them.
But you have ones dealing with like multiple dimensions and stuff.
Yeah, they're all like space, like dark hole. I got this one's called like Top Share. It's like stock market stuff. This is all conspiracy, esque type stuff. It's cool. I'm about it.
I've got them displayed right over there, right next to my my other Danger stuff. I don't have it back here. Maybe I'll move it at some point because they are really cool. But I got them all in cases and everything now too. Thanks, Skeeter, man. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Mine are sitting back there by the Frisbee. I have yet to put cases on them yet, but I was actually going to put them in a picture frame and kind of put them up probably in like that area or whatever. Also frame that poster as well. But mine were angelic sort of themed, and then also 2 Kappa cards, like the Japanese monster. So one was a Kappa and one was Kappa-like, but it was a different I guess species or subspecies of the Kappa. And so I was just like, yeah, it was pretty surprising. And he's like, yeah, so He's like, I don't know if you do Yu-Gi-Oh cards or anything like that. I was like, no, I don't. He's like, well, they have a lot of cryptozoology themes. So they have the Kappa, things like that, right? And I was like, oh, that's really rad. So yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. I think it was cool to see a fan that listens enough. I mean, he listened to the Kappa episode. So, I mean, he listened enough to where he knows our personality, knows what fits with us, and wanted to give us a gift that fit that. And that was really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah. Also, send me that poster, man.
I will. Once I get it in the frame, I will put it back in the box that the frames came in, and I'll do that as well as you left your girlfriend's shirt over here, the UFO Days in the medium. So I'll stick that in there and ship that as well.
Boom.
Yep.
The frames are nice, dude.
She's all happy now.
Yeah.
Dig it. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, there wasn't much more to it. It was really us sitting at a booth, talking to people, having a good time. A lot of the conversations were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I got made fun of for never watching Star Wars.
Did we get the goal? So you're going to watch it?
No, we have not.
What the?
Yeah. We haven't hit the goal yet. The goal is if we get 150 ratings on Spotify and 4.8 average rating, I will.
You added that just now. You just added that.
I will sit down.
Yeah.
I will sit down and watch Star Wars. We're at 96 right now. So we got the 3 that we were told about that day, and we got one more. So somebody was listening, or someone just rated it.
I called out some random people that were walking by, and I was like, yo, my man, can you believe this guy hasn't ever watched Star Wars? And they're like, what?
What? This guy sucks. This podcast probably sucks too.
You know what your problem is, man? You told him that you were worried about showing up and having all that, you're having the anxiety about it. So of course we put you on blast, man. The guy's walking by, boo this man. He doesn't watch Star Wars. Can't pull up the video. Boo this man. Hey.
I can take being put on the spot, man. I'm not worried about that.
I know.
That was simple. That was fun. I had a good time with it too. Eventually I'll sit down and watch Star Wars. But if you guys want to make it happen faster, I need 150 ratings and an average of 4.8 stars. That's all on Spotify. So if not, I'll just wait until I'm 70 when I literally have nothing else to do. And I won't remember it.
Jeez. I'm literally about to die on my deathbed. I'll watch it.
Fine, I'll watch it.
Oh, too late.
No, he finishes the last one. He's like, what have I done? No, I've wasted my life.
This was amazing.
My only regret.
I didn't watch Star Wars sooner.
Yeah. I mean, really not much else to say other than the actual festival, right? So like Jake said, there was wrestling. We got to see some generic insane clown posse characters. That was cool.
And the parade getting blasted in the face by cheese curds.
Oh yeah.
I have never in my life been to a parade where a cooler truck drove by and people were pulling cheese curds and cheese sticks out of coolers and throwing them like candy at the crowd. Like, candy got
dude.
cut open. Jeff got hit in the face by a bag of cheese curds. Like, it was awesome.
Almost took out my laptop.
Passing out milks and like little, like, you get the cafeteria little square, milk cartons and stuff. Like, it was awesome.
It was awesome. It was great. Those cheese curds were awesome.
They were so good.
But they weren't just, underarm tossing them at us. Like,
they were overarm.
Yeah, there was some whip on that.
Great. Jeff was eating a cheese stick and he's like, this is by far the best cheese I've ever had in my life. And it's
the best cheese stick of all time. I'm not kidding.
Like, well, that's what these people do, is beer and cheese. It was awesome.
When you specialize in very few things, you do those very few things very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Wisconsin,
the tractor pull was cool as well. And they weren't, if people have ever been to a tractor pull, generally it'll be like really big John Deeres and the like sort of tractors that they'll just absolutely soup up, huge motors in them. And then they'll do other different classes, so like trucks and things like that, like pickup trucks and whatever. But these were like literal small riding John Deere lawnmowers that just had these monster engines in them, and so they're screaming down the road, right? And so it was so dope just watching them do that. And there was one where me and Jeremy, being aircraft guys, we picked up immediately. This guy literally had an auxiliary power unit, an APU, like what they use to start up the main engines in a lot of different, naval aircraft. But they had this inside the chassis, or under the hood. So we're listening to it, and it's like, boo. And I'm like, that's an APU from an MH60.
Like we know that sound.
And then sure enough, it's going down, and it's just like,
yeah, literally like goes through the barriers at the end, or goes right up to it. It's like, where did that guy get that? Come on.
Literally a jet powered tractor.
Yeah.
It was
so literally a jet powered tractor.
It was so
Bob
cool,
Lazar, man. Wisconsin shit.
So overall, the first night is very slow. A little bit of drinking, not much to it. They had the frisbee, that was cool. A very simple night. The next day, if you're looking to go, I would say Saturday is probably the marquee spot. Right. So there's a ton of stuff going on Saturday. They had vendors selling stuff. They had games going on. They had the wrestling, cornhole tournament. Yeah. I mean,
the bus tours were going on only on Saturday.
That's right. Yep. Tom's bus tours were only going on Saturday. And then apparently we left a little too early. Mm-hmm. From what we were told at night on Saturday, the reason why it goes until 2-3 o'clock in the morning is because they get a DJ and they turn the street into a party.
Yeah, my neighbor across the street was like, "Oh, you're gonna miss the dance party," and I was like, "The what?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, they just tear it up." It's like, and then also they do the UFO spotting, which on Sunday,
yes,
right before we left. So there was a couple that was there. They were at the booth on Saturday, and then they were at the presentation. They were part of the Q&A. They came up to us on Sunday, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And they were like, "Hey, so we went to the UFO spotting thing last night, and we actually got something." Did they post that in the group yet?
No.
Oh, man.
And we were trying to push them to post that. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it pop up yet. So if said people are listening, please post that.
Yeah.
I want to say I saw the lady join. I'm pretty sure she's in the group now.
Okay.
So if you're listening, please post those 2 videos, because one of them was from the nighttime, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them was, and it was really cool because it was a pulsating light, but it was getting really bright and then really dim, and it was moving pretty weird. The second one, go ahead.
Well, the second one was a picture.
Yes.
So she took a picture over the quarry where
Officer
Weber had his sighting. And she said, so basically she said she just wanted to take a quick picture of the quarry. So she jumped out of the car, took a picture, and then took another picture.
She grabbed her boyfriend's phone or her husband's phone.
Yeah. And when she was looking at the images afterwards, in the skyline, there was this black dot. Like, it was hazy because it was from far away, but it was a black dot that was there on the skyline. And in the next picture, a second afterwards, it wasn't there anymore. And it's just like, it was along the lines of that. And it was like kind of trippy because it was just,
To me, it screamed cloaked. Like this thing, like if you're taking a picture of a cloaked craft in the sky, this is how it's going to come out. This is exactly how it's going to look on camera.
Somewhat hazy and stuff, and then it's just yeah.
It was very, very strange. It was a very cool picture. The video was really neat too.
The video was cool because it looked like they were following a satellite until it started changing direction, and then they zoomed in on it, and it wasn't like an airplane where it's flashing it's got a white light and it's flashing its red and greens. it was literally pulsating like a plasma ball and just tons of different colors. In the same way, Jeremy said this to them. If you zoom in on a star, it does the same thing. Stars, kind of pulsate a little bit, and they have a bunch of different colors and stuff to them. But the way it was moving, it was like going up, and then it was going back down, and all this sort of stuff. And they're kind of tracking it, not in a straight line, but as it was kind of moving around, kind of zigzagging through the sky. And it was like, this is really neat. Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah, I'm not saying it's an alien, but we went out there for UFO spotting and we don't know what this is, And I was like,
yeah.
And they beelined right for us. And they're like, you got to check this video out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is dope.
Really?
Yeah.
Honestly, the thing that came to my mind when I saw that, I was thinking, because the light looked whitish, right? But then it did change hue to somewhat orangish. And I'm like,
this is the orange ball, right?
Yeah. If this thing was close to the ground, this might be the orange ball. So
and I think that's what I hit you with. I was just like, hey, check this out. They got the orange ball on there, right?
Yeah. It was awesome. Saturday was pretty neat. Sunday, I would say Sunday is family day.
Yeah.
Little bit of drinking going on, but it's more about the family, right? They had the little Caterpillar trailer being pulled by a tractor for kids to jump on. They had the kiddie tractor pull.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of other kid games going on. Then they had the parade. Very, very family friendly for Sunday. I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. We sold no t-shirts on Sunday.
No.
But it was still cool. My family showed up. We had a good time. That's the day we got hit by some assault cheese. And not
to mention, Jeremy said on Saturday we had 42 new subscribers to Spotify.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny because the whole time he's like, gosh, I hope we get feedback from this. I hope that the show expands because of this. And he's freaking out. I was like, Jeremy, you got 42 new subscribers. It's already happened. Calm down. Have a beer and relax.
Yeah. Hopefully next year I'm not so nervous, man. I don't know. I get like that. Just get nervous.
I can tell.
Just get nervous, man.
No, next year we're gonna have an entrance for you, like you're the Undertaker, dude. The lights are gonna flicker out, and the pyrotechnics are gonna go off. I'm gonna kick the screen. You're gonna come through the projector screen.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just gonna walk out. I'm not gonna. You guys are nuts.
Jeremy, the Panicker.
Booger Man.
Well, I mean, was there anything we haven't touched on for UFO Days?
I think our conversations during the live streams were good. At one point, I don't think Jeremy I don't think we were actually doing a live stream, or I think we were in between live streams, but me and Jeff really got into it about religion and stuff and Christianity and stuff. And that would have actually made for some pretty decent content because we were having a very cordial conversation. It wasn't arguing, but we were making some really good points about it and stuff. But besides that, we had a lot of really interesting conversations that were just kind of, like Jeff was saying earlier, just the flow state, just one thing to the next thing as it kind of evolved into the next conversation while we're doing our live streams. Because in the middle of having, onesie, twosie folks come up and kind of share somewhat of why they're there, or what they think about it, or whatever it was, we had to fill that time. We couldn't just be sitting there goofing off. So we were actually having some really neat conversations and stuff. And then we had that one kid that came, one guy that came up and was like, what if, wanted to talk about multiple dimensions and parallel universes. And he's like, what about a universe where concrete was never invented? And so we had to go down that route.
The first time we go live and somebody, I mean, it turned into a decent conversation.
It's because we do this.
Because we were, at the driver's seat of it.
Yeah,
and it's, I don't know. That was such.
It's actually question. That's an interesting point. When it's weird how when you do something like this, when you do a podcast, for multiple years, even if it's whether it's on a professional level or just as a hobby or anywhere in between, you just develop this ability to like direct a conversation in a way, right? Like you could talk to like any person off the street almost, it seems like. At least for me, I know, like I saw Jake definitely doing it. Jeremy, I know I saw you doing it too when people were walking up. So it's like you just grab a conversation and be like, boom, let's drive it towards this infinite rabbit hole thing, right? If you know what the target is, you know?
Yeah. Then we had one guy come up and we were like, hey, you seen anything strange lately? And he's like, yeah, I seen people vote for Trump. And we're like,
what about UFOs? He's like, oh, UFOs.
Yeah, man.
It was kind of funny too because he came up later and he was like, "Hey, I want to donate $5 to your guys' podcast." And Jeremy was like, "Well, here, take some stickers and stuff." You know, it was neat. What did he say?
Grab some pizza.
Like, buy us some pizza or something. I was like,
yeah,
that's cool.
I was like, that's dope. Freaking awesome. Yeah,
you didn't buy us pizza, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's right. Jeremy, what the heck?
I bought you beer. What are you talking about?
Listen,
I went and grabbed a round of beer.
That's not what the man said.
We didn't get.
That's misappropriated donations, man.
Arrest this man.
Boo this man.
Boo,
it was beer from the pizza place.
All right, that's fair. I'll take it.
No, but it was really cool. Everyone was extremely friendly.
Yeah,
extremely friendly. It was a good time. It was a really, really, really cool experience. Can't wait for next year. We're going to do some things slightly different next year. Try to come with a little bit better equipment. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what next year has installed, and maybe we can make the midnight dance.
Yeah.
I just want to see a whole bunch of really drunk fucking people. That's all. Like, and just drunk people talking about UFOs. That's what I want to see.
Bro, I want to go UFO spotting.
Definitely moving the table before that.
No way, dude. No way. It's a conversation starter. It's an icebreaker.
We got to move it. Cannot have it well, if we had the table where it was during a party on that intersection, we don't have a table anymore.
Perfect.
We'll
bring a dummy table.
A dance stage.
So we were parked out right next to the front door or the entrance of a bar.
Yeah.
And that's when that guy walked out on Friday and
two bars really, because there's one across the street too.
Yeah, Sandbar.
Sandbar. Yeah.
Sandbar, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Shout out to Tom and the Sandbar. Like, that's where we were getting our beers at, and I got a couple hamburgers from there, cheeseburgers. Because I mean the food tent was good, but I found out that they weren't doing French fries with the burgers. I was like, well, you gotta have fries with burgers. Come on, man. And so I went over to the Sandbar and I ended up getting one to go. But yeah, I mean, it was nice definitely to get out of the heat and into the AC, getting into the thing over there in the Sandbar, and it was cool because when Tom was done with his bus tours, he would come over and shoot it with us over at under the booth. So he'd sit down underneath the pop up in the shade and kind of chill out with us for a little bit. So that was cool getting to yak with him a little bit.
Oh yeah, it was.
We did get at least two individuals that were not too stoked with us being there, and that was just because of the location of where our pop up and our table was.
Oh yeah, where we were sitting. Fuck them.
I think we got cussed at twice, and it was like literally all you got to do is move 5 feet to your right and go around us, or 5 feet to your left, depending on which side of down the street you're coming.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it, right? They weren't cussing at the American Legion that was completely blocked off with tables on the other side, completely blocking off the sidewalk. They're cussing at us. So and so it was cool being able to be like, well, Amy is the president of UFO Days and she put us here. So go talk to her, or whatever it was, but still.
And Dawn comes in the next morning. She's like, send them my way.
Yeah.
Talk about drill sergeant.
Although if there's two tables to fuck with, right? You got some random podcaster table, and then across the street you got the American Legion table. If I had to pick one to fuck with, I'm fucking with you guys, man. I'm not going over there either.
Well,
yeah, right.
Whatever.
I'm messing with the nerds. I'm not messing with the freaking war heroes that have probably got a gun stashed in their underwear.
Which, by the way, they had some really, really cool stories.
Which is ironic because you guys are both veterans. So, but anyways,
yeah, but we're not that kind of veteran, man. Those
doesn't matter.
That one guy, man. I don't want to put out what he did.
The other guy is a legend. The other guy,
absolute legend. Yeah, so shout out to Sandbar, shout out to Amy, shout out to Kern's Curbside Bar and Grill for letting us use his HDMI cable.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't bring one on Friday, so he let us use a HDMI cable from the bar.
Fucking amateur.
Yeah, I gave him a shirt for it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're in Elmwood, if you live there, thank you for being host to the UFO Days and us. We really enjoyed it. Can't wait to be back next year. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. What do you say?
I think that's it.
Yeah, man. Good times.
All right. Well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. Until next time, travelers, I'll see you right here, the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.
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 Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.